I don't know if I should be asking for advice because I honestly don't know what to do. For more context, my older sister is 22, and her boyfriend and I are the same age, 19. I'll call my sister Kate and her boyfriend Adam, which is not their real names. So Adam and I were initially acquaintances. We were both in the same year in class in high school, and are now in the same university studying the same thing. We were never close enough to be friends, but after he started dating Kate, we did become friends, and okay friends since we have a lot in common. I must mention I have no interest or any feelings for Adam. But when Adam and I kind of became friends, my sister didn't like it, which is understandable, so I kept my distance like she wanted, but Adam and I had to still end up speaking because we have a few classes together, but we only really talk about school or when it has to do with a class or anything Kate related. So Adam had been invited by Kate over for dinner, and he asked me if I wanted a ride home in his car since we were still going to the same place after all. I didn't think much of it, so I agreed, and we had just come from evening classes and it was dark out and I was too exhausted. Most of the time during the ride I was actually asleep, so we didn't even talk at all. But when we went into the house, I was heading up to my room when Kate grabbed me and pulled me back and asked why Adam and I came back together. Adam immediately tried to tell her why, but she started shouting at him and telling him to stop talking for me and to stop defending me too. Her shouting caused my parents to rush to us. She then started screaming at me, telling me to stop being jealous and to find my own man to drive me home. She then said, "She's noticed everything and she hates how I think every man wants me." And she called me desperate too. She was also tightly grabbing me, digging her nails in my wrist, which hurt, so I yanked my arm off and she shoved me. Adam tried to hold her back, but she began to scream and cry for him to stop defending me and that he was her boyfriend and not mine. My parents tried to calm her down, but she was shaking and breathing like heavily and fast. She was also looking at me, and I felt and still feel so shaken up by the scene. My mom started yelling at me to leave the room until she was better and said that I was triggering her more by being there. I felt confused and accused, so I tried to tell them that I had no idea what I did wrong and tried to explain, but my sister started to make these sounds while shaking and like panting and glaring at me, which honestly scared me. My mom yelled at me to leave again, and I did. I heard them ask Adam to leave too, and he also did, and later texted me and asked me if my sister was okay, but I honestly have been too scared to leave my room. I feel a bit scared that my sister might do something to me, and I've honestly cried a lot, and I feel a bit shaken up because of seeing my sister like that. I don't know if it's a panic attack or a breakdown, but she looked more angry than anything. I feel a bit responsible for her having such a reaction since she told me before to stay away from Adam, so I wish I never took the ride home with him. I don't know who to talk to about this, and I'm still in my room. I know I've said this a lot already, but I'm genuinely scared to leave my room because of everything. And I feel like my parents both think it's my fault for my sister acting that way. Update 1. Sorry for the delay in posting an update. I had taken a break off of my phone and social media due to harassment I'll later mention in this post. I'd like to thank everyone that gave me advice and encouragement. I didn't really expect it, so I'm very grateful. I would first like to begin by saying that everyone was right. I should have left my house for some time after Kate had such a reaction towards me. So after Kate's meltdown a week ago, Adam actually started keeping his distance from Kate and our family. I did too. I'd only leave my room to go to school or to get dinner, which I had in my room. My mom also advised me to do that because she was worried about how Kate would be to me, especially since Adam wasn't talking to her much at the moment. But he would still text me occasionally if he had something to tell me about in terms of school, but he wouldn't even ask about Kate. So about 3 or so days after that happened, I was at school and got a text from Kate, and she basically told me that she hated me, and that if I come home that day she'd actually kill me. I was so confused. I didn't know what I had done since I hadn't spoken to her for some time. I forwarded the message to my parents, and I was also upset since she was threatening me out of nowhere. Plus, she was insulting me a lot too. Kate called me, and when I answered, she was crying and screaming at me saying it's my fault, and that I never want to see her happy. And I took away someone so important to her just because I don't have a man for myself. I tried to tell her first that I didn't know what happened, but she kept saying, "Liar, it's your fault, liar." It's your fault. Then when I hang up and went to ask Adam about it, he told me he had ended things because Kate had started not only calling his phone a lot, but also his parents. She was also texting his friends on Instagram asking them to talk to him so that he could talk to her again. Adam also said that she started threatening him too. But with her life. Like saying if he actually leaves her, she's going to kill herself, and it will be his fault. I didn't believe him at first actually, since I had never seen or heard my sister being like that. So he showed me the texts as proof and told me that he couldn't handle being in such a relationship since he was now afraid of her. Then he said he was also scared of me, or interacting with me just in case Kate would hurt me again for it. I called my mom and tried to explain everything to her after I was done with all my classes, and I even had Adam there to speak to them just in case she wouldn't believe me or wouldn't believe what Adam had told me, but my mom just started yelling at me. She told me that what I was doing was wrong, like communicating with someone who caused my sister so much pain, and even trying to get her to speak to him. She then refused to speak to him, or even hear the reason he broke up with her, because all he did was hurt Kate to her, and said that me continuing to speak to him meant I didn't care about my sister. I then told her how Kate was threatening me, and she told me that it was just out of anger and that I should stay away from Adam if I don't want to make Kate angrier. I kept trying to get her to understand how I felt, but she kept dismissing me so much and yelling at me too that I cried and had to end the call. I stayed in school with Adam for some time, and we spoke about what I should do. And mostly because I was just scared of going home and wanted to talk to someone who understood me, not to trigger Kate. Kate was spamming me with texts asking if I was with Adam and what was taking me so long to go home. She was also calling me a lot, and when I didn't answer her calls, she called me through my mom's phone. And when I answered and heard it was her, I hung up after she said she knew I was with Adam. I honestly felt so exhausted by all of this and had to even face the fear of asking a friend who slept in the dorms if I can stay with her. I told her everything too, and we're close, so I have been here for a few days. I told my parents that I was with a friend to prep for some exams, and both of them, especially my father, insist I go home. Especially since I'm the youngest. They don't trust me to stay out of home since first I have nothing on me, but I'm actually just scared to go home that I don't care. My parents think I'm overreacting about Kate's threats and even made me speak to her on the phone, and she told me she didn't mean it, but I don't believe her. They're saying I'm trying to ruin Kate's name by involving others into family matters. Like what? I had to turn my phone off for some time because of Kate constantly calling and texting threats and insults to me. And when I'd tell my parents, they literally made excuses. Oh, and on Saturday, all three of them came to my school to try and find me. I was lucky not to bump into them, but Adam and one of my other friends, unfortunately, were spotted by Kate. But Adam didn't want to talk to them, so he avoided them and warned me about it. And my friend who did talk to them told me my sister asked her if I was staying with Adam, and my parents told her to tell me to come home and to take their calls. So, yeah. I apologize if this post feels all over the place. I tried to explain everything for everyone who wanted an update. I'm still so stressed about everything, and keeping my distance isn't helping, like I thought it would. I'm constantly worried that my sister or my parents will find me, and that I will have to speak to them on this, which I don't want to. But I know I'll have to go home soon since my parents are insisting on it. Update 2. I am once again overwhelmed by the support and advice and encouragement I have received. Thank you so much. I once again took everyone's advice. The hardest part about this was having to move out of the house I grew up in. It was really hard to go back. I actually felt worried, but I decided to go back home today, when both of my parents were at home, and I also went with a friend just in case. Plus I had time since my classes were all in the evening.
My family have this obsession with keeping the family image good, and I kind of surprised them by coming back so suddenly and with a guest, I think. I first of all sat down with them, and my friend went upstairs to my room to begin the packing and obviously to give us space. My parents then started talking in silent tones, basically telling me to stop being dramatic and stop dragging this issue out, and that it has already happened and I should just forget it and come back home. I first asked if I can stay in the campus accommodation or the apartments close to school, since I am actually doing my finals exams from Thursday and I wanted to stay in school where I can focus on just school. I thought this approach would work since my parents are pretty strict about school, but my parents refused immediately. My father said that I wasn't allowed to until I was older, and my mother said she knows it's because of Kate. I then told them I've already decided that that's what I want and I'll do it anyway, and my father threatened to stop paying my fees. He also told me to think about what our other family members would think and that I'd have a lot of time in our house with my sister during the summer break to make up. But I dreaded actually living so much time in the same place as Kate. Plus I asked the school already about summer housing, and it is allowed in my school, but you have to pay a different price, which I expected my parents not to agree to pay. My friend came downstairs while we were talking and called me to the side, and then she told me that she was looking for a suitcase, and then Kate burst inside and was like lunging to her, but then stopped when she realized it wasn't me. She said she was scared and wanted to leave, and I felt scared too. I took my friend to my parents and told her to repeat what she just told me, and my mom just sighed. She told me to go if I want and see how I'll survive without them. I looked at my dad, but he didn't say anything. I asked if I was allowed to leave, and my dad said I can go, but as long as I wasn't under his protection, I shouldn't expect anything from them. Sad face. My friend said to me that it was okay and she'll help me pack. So I asked my parents to tell Kate to come downstairs, and Mom said she can do whatever she wants since she lived there. So me and my friend just went upstairs, and my room was wide open, and my friend and I actually hesitated to go in, but she wasn't there. I packed most of my clothes. Not everything. Then we left immediately after. I decided to speak to the school with my friend more on on-campus housing and explained my entire situation, and I was actually allowed to have it if I took summer classes or if I took internship, but since I'm a freshman it would be harder to do internship, so I am choosing to do summer classes. Sorry for the TMI. I was then asked to speak to the campus safety officers concerning my sister and the threats she made against me. But I'll go with Adam tomorrow. Since we both have evidence, and I had a lot of work having to bring my stuff to the dorms as well as having an evening class to prepare for. I called my father afterwards and told him about it, the housing and fees, and then I asked again if he was really not going to pay my fees or support my other expenses. He said that he'd pay for school fees and the housing, but I'd have to figure everything else out. Like food and stuff, which I think is manageable. Now regarding pressing charges, I don't want to risk being cut off financially by my parents since I am not ready to pay for my own fees yet. Plus after I blocked my sister, she stopped bothering me. But after my friend told me that she lunged at her when she came back home, I'm worried she'll do that again to me. And a lot of comments in my posts have given me scenarios which made her scarier to me. But Adam wants to file a restraining order against her. For some reason he doesn't have her blocked, just muted, but he views all her texts and even forwards some to me or sends screen recordings of voice notes she's sent to him. And yes, we are actively communicating because we are going through the same issue. I hope to just receive protection from Kate. Even if it means spending my entire summer in school, I'll do it. I'm not sure what's going to happen tomorrow, but even now, the school has said they're not letting people to the dorms area, so I'll be safe until then. To the people hating on me for not pressing charges earlier, I hope you understand I fully depend on my parents for everything. I was worried that if I did, I'd be cut off. But after my finals, I want to try and get a job so I can earn some money during the summer, and hopefully I'll get used to such independence. This is my final update. Thank you for all the support. I'm okay. So is Adam. And we'll continue working on making sure we'll both be safe. As I mentioned, I will be starting my finals on Thursday, and I'll be very stressed and busy, so I might not be able to post another update or interact much with Kate. And sorry again if this post is all over the place. Maybe I'll try editing this post tomorrow and let you know what happened. Story 2. So, for background, I am autistic. I'm not trying to use this as an excuse, but it might explain my lack of social skills. A part of that autism is that when I find something funny I have a really hard time not laughing. Please excuse any grammar or spelling issues, English is hard. Oh, I'm 18, non-binary, biologically female, all that jazz. Now for the post. Basically I asked my dad to purchase tickets to the Renaissance Fair. My dad is a very smart person. I need to stress this because he is not in any way mentally handicapped, nor is he old enough for him to have mental decline, hence why I thought buying tickets would be a reasonable task. Oh, second comment, I don't automatically expect him to buy me stuff whenever I ask, but I'm graduating high school in 2 weeks and I'm getting the tickets as a graduation present. Anyway, my dad starts typing away on the computer and gets to what I thought was the Ren Fair website. In the past the tickets cost around $40, so I was confused when he said the tickets were $65. The reason I didn't immediately feel suspicious is the USA is currently in a bit of a financial crisis because of some issues I won't get into. Because of those issues I had assumed the Ren Fair needed to raise ticket prices. It wasn't my money, so as long as my dad was okay with the price I was too. Then my dad goes to pay using his online wallet, and after he pays he says, "Wow, the tickets are really expensive with tax, they're $100. At this point my mom's jaw hit the floor. My mom says, "Wait, please tell me you haven't already paid." I on the other hand address the elephant in the price tag and say, "Dad, WTF, do you know how tax works? A $35 tax on a $65 price is like a 50% tax." At this point my mom finishes typing on her phone and says, "Honey, where did you buy the tickets?" "I just went to the official website and the tickets are $32. I probably shouldn't have, but I burst out laughing hysterically because my dad, who spent the better part of my life lecturing me about financial responsibility, an example would be absolutely grilling me to a fine char about whether or not my new computer was worth the $1,200 price. It was. I have one of the best computers in the world for software engineering and it is normally $2,500, had just gotten scammed out of $300 in like 5 minutes. When my dad hears me laughing he starts absolutely losing his mind. He's yelling at me about how it's not funny and I need to stop laughing. My mom tries to get him to stop, but he's freaking out about losing the money and yelling about scams and calling the bank and the credit card company and God himself to get the money back. For the record, my parents are very well off financially and I have like $40,000 in scholarship money, so college isn't going to be a major burden on them. Basically a loss of $300 while annoying isn't going to put us on the street or anything. Anyway, I try to stop laughing but I can't, and with my dad continuing to shout at me like I'm mooning the Pope I go to another room to finish laughing. When I get back my dad launches into a lecture on how I'm immature. I don't respect his money and I am spoiled. If he hadn't trusted me when I warned him the tickets could be a bit pricey, for the record my prom dress is $10, so $30 to $40 is pricey, he wouldn't have gotten scammed. I don't think I'm the asshole here, but I've gotten in big trouble. I once got kicked out of class for laughing before, so this might just be me not understanding social norms. Lastly, whether I'm the asshole or not, how do I repair my relationship with my dad? He's furious with me right now and has been yelling at me about finishing forms for college. They're due in mid-June and take like 20 minutes each. I just want my dad to stop treating me like I robbed him, especially since if he's not going to buy me replacement tickets from a reliable website I need to buy them myself before they sell out. Sorry for rambling Reddit, I just don't have any friends I can vent to.